to that earlier. But the topic of this conversation is using AI so that we can deliver our message more effectively in the creation of a customer pod. Specifically and exactly, that is what we're contemplating and considering and embarking upon right now. And so if I come in here and I go to this message, I sent this to Todd right after our conversation. And so this was an example right here. This was an example of me using AI, specifically using Lev AI. It wouldn't have to have been, but this is an example of me using AI to deliver the promotional message for the product offering. And so Todd's question to me a couple of days ago was, how might this, if in fact restricting caloric intake as a result of utilizing a GLP-1 product, if I restrict my caloric intake to a certain level, now my metabolic rate goes down. Said, how do I know that that won't happen here? And so I used Lev AI to answer the question. At Nueva Peptide Health, that's one of my profiles, we continually explore and offer revolutionary peptide solutions to enhance vitality and well-being. Today, we're diving into the multifaceted roles of peptides such as, and I just typed it in wrong, 5-amino 1-MQ, GHKCU, SLUPP332, BPC157, and KPV in maintaining an active metabolism and supporting weight loss. Okay, and so now stop and ask yourself a question. Do you know people who have been using GLP-1 Ozempic over the course of the last year? Do you or do you not? The answer is yes, you all do. Even those of you who may not know it, you know people who have been using GLP-1 that has raced across the United States like few things have in recent memory. And people on the way down look pretty good. When it reaches a certain point, they start looking like GLP-1 skeletons, and you've all seen them. These peptides stand as promising agents compared to the well-known GLP-1 due to their unique mechanisms and potential benefits. And so now, as opposed to offering a single peptide, we offer a combination. First, and this is the magic right here. I mean, there's a lot of magic to it, but here's the magic. Consider 5-amino 1-MQ, a compound currently captivating researchers for its ability to suppress a specific enzyme that hinders metabolism. And so, what is this? Is something different. This is reducing caloric intake, but it's reducing caloric intake through a different mechanism, a different way of doing it. First, consider 5-amino 1-MQ, a compound currently captivating researchers for its ability to suppress a specific enzyme that hinders metabolism. And so with a GLP-1, as one restricts caloric intake, calorie intake goes lower, lower, lower. In men, it falls beneath 2,500. In women, it falls beneath 2,000. Most people who are losing weight rapidly using a GLP-1 are having caloric intake of fewer than 1,000 calories, many down to 500. And that then triggers an enzyme which limits metabolic activity. So as we reduce caloric intake, we have now exacerbated the problem that we've had with our metabolic rate slowing down since we turned 30. By doing so, it effectively aids in the reduction of adipose tissue, commonly known as body fat. And so now, when we act upon that enzyme, then as a result of acting upon the enzyme, our metabolic rate continues to work on the reduction of adipose tissue, which is not what happens with a GLP-1 um, skeleton that you see. It is what happens when we reduce caloric intake to a certain point. It will then attack the lean muscle mass as opposed to the adipose tissue, commonly known as body fat. GHKCU, another powerful peptide, is renowned for its reparative properties, offering regenerative effects that can improve skin elasticity and firmness during weight loss. And so now, once again, what have you found unattractive among people who lost a lot of weight with a GLP-1? Hanging, baggy, saggy skin that looks like it's just going to fall off the frame, folks. I mean, it's visible. It's visible in the majority of people who have utilized a GLP-1 for a period of time. Renowned for its reparative properties, offering regenerative effects that can improve skin elasticity and firmness during weight loss, ensuring that your journey towards fitness is smooth and effective. Additionally, and that of course should say SLUPP332, is celebrated for its role in augmenting metabolic rates. And so a person who is simply using a GLP-1 product is not the same experience at all. in incorporating this group, this cocktail of peptides, now we can provoke weight loss, and yet we can provoke weight loss while ensuring that metabolic rate stays vibrant and ensuring that it is attacking adipose fat tissue as opposed to to consuming lean body mass. And finally, in augmenting metabolic rates, that is happening both with 5-amino-1-MQ and SLU-PP332, increasing the body's calorie burning potential. It supports not just weight loss, but also heightened energy levels, aiding those who use it in feeling more vibrant and alive. Also, not the result of one using a GLP-1 product. Additionally, BPC 157 deserves special mention for its holistic benefits. While already proper for its healing properties, this peptide also contributes to significantly to muscle recovery and growth. And so if I'm using a GLP-1 product, I restrict my caloric intake to a point that my metabolic rate slows down even further. I'm doing nothing to support metabolic rate. I'm doing nothing to support the retention of lean muscle mass. I'm doing nothing to support um, the elasticity of my skin, causing it to pop back to a now smaller frame. So you see, this is a lot different. And the number of millions of people in America who used Ozempic, why? Because they were so disaffected with obesity that they gravitated towards it, notwithstanding the various challenges. Well, here we have an opportunity to provoke weight loss at similar rates. And yet, as you can see by what we've just illustrated right here, provoking weight loss at a similar rate, but doing it with a cocktail of peptides as opposed to a standalone peptide. And you can see how important all of these further things are. Further, and again, this dual action is particularly advantage in weight loss programs as it helps maintain muscle mass while reducing fat. It helps maintain muscle mass while reducing fat. If one is using only a GLP-1, then you cannot make that statement essential for a well-toned physique. Further, KPV joins this potent array with anti-inflammatory capabilities that harmonize with metabolic processes to reduce unwanted weight efficiently and healthily. Its ability to modulate inflammatory responses ensures users a balanced approach to weight management without the common pitfalls associated with rapid weight loss. Folks, there is a market out there waiting for us. There is a staggeringly large market of people who, being so disaffected with obesity, were willing to accept the downsides of a GLP-1. But I want you to know they need not accept the downside. They need not. They can utilize a cocktail of peptides. And by the way, our cocktail of peptides is available in the marketplace at the same approximate price that people are paying only for GLP-1. And so when people say, how do we integrate AI into our messaging? If I had nothing more than just this, that would be enough for me. Comparatively, while GLP-1 agonists are well regarded for glucose regulation and appetite control, they may not offer the comprehensive benefits seen in the peptides mentioned. The peptides discussed here provide a wider range of support by promoting tissue repair, enhancing metabolism, and supporting overall wellness, rather than only moderating blood sugar levels. Thus, individuals looking to adopt a more diversified approach to weight loss and metabolic health might find these peptide options from Nueva Peptide Health, and that's just one of my business profiles, to be invaluable allies. In conclusion, the world of peptides present a robust and versatile toolkit for those pursuing active metabolism and sustained weight loss. Now, folks, just play it forward a little bit. Just play the tape forward a little bit. If while I use a GLP-1 product, and by the way, I'm not here advocating against GLP-1, I'm simply showing you legitimate factual comparisons of what we are seeking to accomplish versus what is being accomplished by using a standalone GLP-1 product. In conclusion, the world of peptides presents a robust and versatile toolkit for those pursuing active metabolism and sustained weight loss. What can possibly happen when I stop using the GLP-1? Now I have got a severely restrained metabolic rate. My mitochondria functions have reduced as a result. Now I've got a more constrained metabolic rate. And what new disciplines or habits have been developed while I used? Exactly none. All that changed was I didn't feel like eating. Now I stop using that peptide. I feel like eating again. I start to eat the way that I ate before. Now I've got a slower metabolism that I had at the outset. And that is why 1 year later, way too many people who are using a GLP-1 weigh more a year later than they weighed before they had the substantial weight loss. At Nueva Peptide Health, we are pioneers in offering these cutting-edge solutions, easily tailored to empower your health journey uniquely. By choosing our peptide-based strategies, individuals aren't just choosing a supplement, they're opting for a personalized, comprehensive approach to long-term vitality and wellness. Now I'm going to come in here for a second and I'm going to stop my screen share. So let me ask you all a question. I mean, so Carol, and Carol is a nurse. Carol, anyone who's using GLP or who has, I believe they need only review what we just described. That's all they have to do. And that then becomes a customer for our product. They're not spending more money. They're getting a cocktail of 5 peptides for the approximate same amount of money they were previously spending to get a peptide. And now, every step of the way, we are supporting these very important functions. Skin elasticity. It doesn't look good, does it, when a person loses a lot of weight and their skin is hanging off their frames? Muscle tone. It doesn't look good when underneath our arms there's this baggy, waggy gob of goo. And that is the unavoidable consequence if we're not doing something to support lean muscle mass retention, because what will occur when you restrict caloric intake down into that seven, eight, $900 range, then our bodies will start attacking lean muscle mass. And that's what's happened when you see the saggy, baggy arms and so on. And so what we have here, as opposed to simply granting you the ability to lose weight, now we're granting a legitimate possibility to lose weight still at a very, very rapid rate, but to do so while supporting lean muscle mass, a specific peptide design to cause our body to retain lean muscle mass and attack the adipose tissue that would otherwise be there, maintaining blood sugar levels, just as the GLP-1 does, and yet doing the other things that I've just described. And so I look back at my friend Todd, who was using Ozempic. Todd, don't you suppose that anyone using a GLP-1, if made aware of what I've just described to you for the same price, is it not more attractive? It is. Yeah, I mean, it's just more attractive, folks. There's no getting around that. And so the first thing that I wanted to illustrate is the very most obvious upfront way that I utilize artificial intelligence. I utilize artificial intelligence to teach me things that I do not know about our product offerings and to teach me competitive advantages. And so now I would never, ever, ever, when I ask these questions, it is simply to put an exclamation point on the reality. It is never to find fault with or say, oh my gosh, why haven't you done this? But I would be kind of surprised to find out, Paul, I'd be kind of surprised to find out that you knew until just a moment ago why one might be better off using our cocktail of peptides to provoke weight loss than using GLP-1. I think you probably just learned something new. Yes or no? Learned something new? Okay. And so the first way to use our product is to learn something new. It's just that simple. It's to learn something new. I mean, Lev AI just created for me an incredible marketing message that I can deliver to anybody who's been using a GLP-1 product, and they're everywhere around you. If we had no message to deliver except that message, that would be enough. But I just illustrated for you a way that I use it, that specific query. And what was that I just showed you? That was a long form post. I logged into my AI tool suite and I then posed for it a couple of simple questions. And so we'll go back in, I'll log in and I'll illustrate that for you. Mhm. One second, thought I was already in. The right spot here. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Screen share. By the way, I chose to have this session today, um, hold on, get here, simply because I am discovering that way too many of our participants are not using the tool suite at all. That became obvious to me yesterday. And so I want to show you the very most obvious, easiest, simplest ways to use it. And so what I just illustrated was this. And again, I don't know what your various levels of knowledge are here. But what I just illustrated for you is this. Up here it says, write a social post. Now, in order for me to accomplish what I just accomplished, what I just was able to illustrate for you, was the first thing that I needed to do was I needed to come in here and train my AI. Okay? If I had not trained my AI, then my AI would not have produced the verbiage that it just produced. And so I've written enough information here that it knows how to communicate on my behalf. So the various people that I've volunteered to help fill out these various AI tool suites, and by the way, I'm doing it. Any one of you that I've told you I've do it for, I've got your login information. I'm doing it. The next 24 to 48 hours, you will all see the impact of that. You'll see it being done. And so I've come in here and I've taught it how to write like me. For example, I don't use a bunch of exclamation points and emojis. So I moved this clear over to the left. I don't use a lot of humor, but neither am I somber. So I left that in the middle. When I contemplate what do I want to sound like, I wrote down here, I am, in certain respects, I am a thought leader. In some parts of my life, I am a follower. In some parts of my life, I am a leader. My guess is that is true with each one of you. You're probably a follower in some capacities, you're a leader in some capacities. Right now, this is a business application. I must be, and I must be perceived as a leader. And so when I taught it how I want to sound, I am a thought leader and I should sound as such. Just that statement results in it presenting me in a different way. Had I not written that statement there, it would not present me the way that it does. In order for you to likewise have it position you correctly, all you need to do is come in and properly train your AI. And what I found myself was that I had to change it a few times. I initially went in, I wrote it, it didn't sound like me. I came back, I wrote it, and it sounds more like me every day. Then each time that I make a post, it is also monitoring that. And gradually it has become to sound a lot like me, except smarter, more knowledgeable, more experienced. And so now what I just illustrated for you was I came in here and I clicked on business post. Then I selected one of my profiles, which is Nueva peptide help. Then, because I wanted to learn and because specifically I needed a marketing message, I was talking to a man, Todd Scheibe, who um, as a result, it's not in Todd's case, he has a health condition that he needs to maintain his weight at a certain level. By the way, we all need to maintain our health at a certain level, but he has a specific health situation that makes it maybe a little bit more important for him than it would be for one who is unaware of any health issues lingering out there in the background. And so when Todd told me that he had been using a GLP-1 product, it had been okay, but not great. When he told me he had used that and he wanted to know what would make this a superior experience for him and why would a chiropractic office or a massage therapist's office, why would they want to have these products on their shelf? Why should they be talking about a cocktail of peptides as opposed to talking simply about GLP-1? And so I put in my profile and I then determined what exactly am I trying to do right now? Well, I'm trying to educate. Who was I trying to educate? Me. That's who I was trying to educate so that I could answer that question. I would have had absolutely no way. I don't know. What is the difference if I use a GLP-1 product or if I use this cocktail? I don't know. I mean, the truth is, because I've been doing these presentations and I've been studying a lot, in the absence of I would not know the difference. And so what did I do? I came here and I wanted it to teach me. And so I put this, how might, and then I simply rattled off the foundational peptides in our product offering. And those foundational peptides are what? 5 amino, 1 MQ. Now, because I have been using it, I can tell you that I can now I can speak specifically to it. Were I not using it, then I wouldn't be able to add to the commentary that I just read. I am very, very aware that some of you have financial constraints that are severe. I completely understand, and I don't want one person to spend a dollar they can't afford to spend. I will tell you the moment that you begin using the product, my own experience and the experience of everyone with whom I have shared, when they use it, they know something is changing. And it's a positive change. They know something is changing for the better, and most frequently they know it in a day. Then I can take the facts, but I can add to those facts my own personal experience, and my own personal experience has provoked, in fact, in me an emotional response to that experience. And so now I can put a great big personal exclamation point on the facts. But I got the fact. In fact, in my case, I've been gathering the facts. As you folks know, I stir up a lot of dust in a short period of time. And now I'm illustrating what I did to respond to a question by Todd Scheibe today. But every day, I have been writing questions like the question I'll hear pose, and I have been learning. Today, I can have a more than surface conversation with someone who's known and understood peptides for decades. And this for me is about a 4 week experience. And so the utilization I can see with complete clarity. You say, well, Randy, couldn't you do the same thing by doing a simple Google search? No, you absolutely cannot. If you want to prove that to yourself, then write down the question that I'm going to write here, see what Lev AI gives me back, and then pose the same question to Google. No, you cannot do the same thing with a simple internet search. So now, how might 5-amino 1-MQ GHK-CU? Now, as I do this, I want each of you to ask yourselves the question, SLP dash SL SLU dash PP dash 332 and HKCU KPV one one two three four five KPV and um, type 2 to collagen peptides. Now let me ask you all a question, really and truly, as I stop right now. 5-amino 1-MQ, that is found where? In Nueva body. Did you know that when I wrote it? Did you know that? If you didn't, you need to know that. These are the foundational peptides. When you start talking to customers or proposed customers, you'll find that some know absolutely nothing and you can know more the first day. You'll find there are those who are peptide aficionados who know a little bit. You need to know. When I ask you right now, what are the two foundational peptides that are in this bottle? If you don't know, that is job one. That's job one. They are 5-amino 1-MQ and SLUPP-332. Then, when you do AI searches and ask in a multiple way, pose different questions, pose the same question 3 or 4 different ways, different comparison points, you can, in a matter of 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week, you can be conversant on what these peptides are and what they do. So, for example, I can now tell you why this works for me. This works for me because I am a carbohydrate junkie. And what this does is provide for me, it supports and stabilizes my blood sugar level and my glucose levels. And so I'm not having these severe peaks that cause me to rush over there and eat a handful of peanut M&Ms. I'm telling you, I mean, Samantha, if she were here sitting beside me, she could validate this. I cannot walk through a store without buying the great big jumbo size of peanut butter M&Ms because it's kind of a steady all day long. And surprise, 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 I've got a belly as a result of that. I haven't eaten any peanut butter and M&Ms since the second day of consuming this product. And it's not because I'm trying not to consume them. It's because my body's not asking for them. It's just that simple. But now, see what I need to know if I want to be a professional. And what's the difference in a professional and an amateur? Professionals get paid for what they do, and amateurs don't. If I want to be a professional so I get paid for what I do, then don't you think it makes sense for me to know what the foundational peptides are? And don't you suppose it also makes sense to know and understand what they might do? And so earlier today, I queried Samantha. Samantha's father, a wonderful, I'm telling you, one of the remarkable, wonderful men, has been in a wheelchair for many, many, many years since an accident he suffered when he was in high school. And among those who are wheelchair bound, one of the things that is so critically difficult is wound healing. And most people who have long term wheelchair experiences have incurable, seemingly non healable wounds, bed sores, Doesn't have to be a bed sore. It can be a wheelchair sore. Circulation is inadequate. They can't feel the pain when the pain comes along. Suddenly there's a wound without the pain response to do something about it. The wound spins out of control. And it's so very difficult for healing with improper circulation among specifically those that are wheelchair bound. And so when we read that GHKCU is showing promise in wound healing for those with intractable wounds that won't work, you see, if I didn't know what that peptide might do, then I could not have said, we need to send this to your dad. And I wouldn't know it had I not learned it here. I wouldn't know it from the marketing message of the company. I would know it from learning it here. The company cannot make health claims. We're not doing this by prescription. And so I'm getting the health-based information from the artificial intelligence world out there. And I'm going to show you in a couple of moments what the company does do that's absolutely exceptional. But how might 5-amino 1-MQ, GHQCU, SLUPP332, KPV, and type 2 collagen peptides, and I'm leaving one out, BPC 157 and BPC 157. Okay. Now the first question, and whenever I say this, really, I'm only trying to help. But can you tell me right now a single thing about each one of these peptides? If you cannot, then stop and ask yourself the next question. And how then would we propose to be effective in creating a customer base who is utilizing them if we don't know more than they know? When I was at Merrill Lynch, I was taught I must know more than my customer. I must know more than my client about each investment. In this case, we must know more. And this over here, of course, is supposed to say type 2 collagen peptides and type 2. And what will absolutely amaze you is you can take this cocktail of peptides. And right now, I'll finish writing this. How might 5-amino BPC 157? So these are our foundational peptides affect long-term weight management possibilities. How, hold on, possibilities. How might these peptides impact metabolic rate? Metabolic rate, skin elasticity, lean muscle mass as compared to GLP-1. Now, that's not the exact question that I wrote, but that's really kind of close to the question that I wrote that generated. Now, what did it generate? Now I'm going to go over here, and what is my purpose again? It is to educate. It is to educate me. And so now I write generate, and it's now producing what in LevAI's view is a social media post. What it did for me today was allow me to respond in a knowledgeable, factual, correct way to a question that 10 minutes prior I would have had absolutely no ability to respond to and have it be absolutely accurate. Now, each time I do this, you know what else I do? I then print it out and I read each one of these once or twice every day. And so now I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 14 pages, 14 different, not pages, because each one of these has a couple of pages associated, but I have 14 different educational experiences that I've had by simply asking my AI how these various nutrients, and I've done this for all of the peptides. And now, as opposed to what I just wrote, you saw what I wrote. How might it impact skin elasticity, lean muscle mass, weight loss, metabolic rate? You could rephrase that question with just about any health condition you can possibly imagine. And this cocktail of peptides, it will be factual and come back with incredibly powerful information. The building out of a consumer pod, of a customer pod, will be easier by far for those who have basic foundational knowledge. And I'm now illustrating for you how I've gained sufficient foundational knowledge in a very short period of time to feel perfectly capable of producing what I want and need to produce. So now let's just read. In the ever evolving world of health and wellness, peptides have emerged as star players in aiding long term weight management. Notice this long term weight management and overall well being. At Nueva Peptide Health, we understand the transformative potential of peptides such as 5-amino 1-MQ, GHKCU. And these are our foundational peptides. Now, folks, if you have not yet created a business profile that is reflective of peptides, and if you have not trained your AI, will it produce a response? Yes, it will. Will the response be like this response? No, it won't. It will not be anywhere near as effective and as compelling. It'll be accurate, but not as effective and compelling. And so, having contemplated what are these foundational peptides, these powerful compounds offer intriguing possibilities for enhancing metabolic rate. For a person who's been using Ozempic, they have now got a dramatically suppressed metabolic rate. This is important for enhancing metabolic rate, skin elasticity, and lean muscle mass. But how do these stack up against the well known GLP-1 receptor agonists? Let's embark on an enlightening journey to uncover the unique benefits each peptide brings to the table. Firstly, let's dive into their impact on metabolic rate and weight management. Folks, there could not be much that is more important in weight management than metabolic rate. This is a prime time issue. The peptide 5-amino 1-MQ has shown promising results by inhibiting the activity of a protein that negatively affects fat metabolism. And so, why could I 6 months ago? I went on a mission to get skinny, and yet I had this gut fat that wouldn't go away. But I went as low as it was when I graduated from high school. And in high school, I didn't have a gut, but I still had the gut. Because why? Because once my weight got to a certain point, once the caloric once the caloric consumption rate went down so low, then my body began attacking lean muscle mass and it preserved that gob of fat because that is its safety net. That's the way that the body works. That was what was really happening. The peptide 5-amino 1-MQ has shown promising results by inhibiting the activity of a protein that negatively affects fat metabolism. This contrasts with GLP-1 receptor agonists, which predominantly enhance insulin secretion and glucose control. While both methods are beneficial for weight management, the targeted approach of 5-amino 1-MQ offers a unique pathway to potentially bolster energy expenditure, burning calories. Going the other way slows down the calorie burn rate. Similarly, BP 157, often heralded for its healing properties, may play an adjunctive role by reducing inflammation and assisting in recovery, promoting an active lifestyle, which is likewise crucial for managing weight. The second facet worth exploring involves skin elasticity and collagen support. Enter GHKCU and type 2 collagen peptides at the forefront of regenerative medicine. GHKCU is renowned for its ability to engage collagen production, improve skin elasticity, and promote wound healing. Now, folks, would those all be important for somebody who is now having rapid weight loss? You've seen the folks, rapid weight loss, and you see what happens if we don't have the cocktail. Saggy, baggy arms, scaggy, baggy skin, and on it goes. Type 2 collagen peptides follow suit, adding structural integrity to the skin. While GLP-1 therapies adjust metabolic activity, they often underplay the anti-aging benefits associated with these peptides. At Nueva Peptide Health, we believe in harnessing the rejuvenative strength of these peptides for not just inner health, but outer radiance too. Transitioning to lean muscle mass. This is the big time, folks. When you see a person who has lost 100 pounds on a GLP-1, what you'll see, I mean, literally the skin hanging on them. I mean, it's every day I see it. By facilitating muscle regeneration and reducing muscle breakdown, these peptides offer insights in how we can maintain muscle mass, particularly essential as we age. This is a distinct advantage over GLP-1. Get back over here because somebody called me. Oh man, did I just lose my post? Oh no. I'm sorry, we got to generate again. So the point is, I'm going to let it generate again. And it won't generate, by the way, the exact same words. And I'm sorry that just happened. The call came in. I should have disconnected it on my phone instead. While I'm waiting for it to regenerate, I will tell him I am on a Zoom. Okay. Now I'm going to come down here again. We'll go down a little bit. It's going to be talking about very, very similar things, maybe not the exact same up until now. I love this though. At Nueva Peptide Health, we understand the modern quest for effective and sustainable weight management. To this end, peptides present an intriguing frontier of possibility, offering potential benefits that range from enhancing metabolic rate to improving skin elasticity and lean muscle mass. And then it talks about our five foundational peptides. In the realm of enhancing metabolic rate and weight management, one cannot ignore the profound potential of 5-amino-1-MQ, known for its ability to inhibit the enzyme responsible for breaking down NAD+. It assists in boosting cellular metabolism. Now, when it affects this enzyme, this is what affects the ability to attack adipose fat tissue as opposed to lean muscle mass. This means a possible increase in metabolic rate, yielding greater energy expenditure, which aids in weight loss even while at rest. Experience the vision. Now, this again, really, really important thing. Skin elasticity, a concern for many, especially those experiencing changes in weight, finds new hope in peptides like. And here we have the cocktail as opposed to what is available in a simple GLP-1. And that type 2 collagen promotes joint health and skin elasticity, potentially countering the sagging effects often associated with weight loss. And finally, lastly, peptides like SLUPP332 and BPC157 are configured to improve lean muscle mass. All those people who are simply using a GLP-1 product are victimizing their body to the things I'm describing because it is singular as opposed to the cocktail approach, a crucial factor in weight management and overall health. SLUPP332 may encourage muscle growth, while BPC157 is known for its healing properties, facilitating recovery and enhancing endurance and strength. While GLP-1 focuses predominantly on appetite suppression and glucose control, these peptides pioneer a more comprehensive approach. Nueva Peptide Health encourages you to reflect. Now, finally, in conclusion, while GLP-1 has paved a reliable path for weight loss enthusiasts with its focus on appetite and blood sugar levels, the innovative potential of these peptides opens doors to a broader spectrum of health benefits impacting metabolic efficiency, skin health, and lean muscle enhancement. Okay, so all of that was simply to illustrate for you a way that most people could immediately benefit from utilizing artificial intelligence and have simply not made it accessible to them as yet. So I'm going to log into Nueva and I will show you something else that I think is really important. Now, this also I have found is not something being widely used. In fact, maybe being used not at all. So we'll log into my account. And here we see if a person simply clicks on a customer. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drag it to that. We'll come over here to my website. Okay, Randy Schrader. We're going to go to my account. We go to my account. We're going to go over here to my websites. Here we click on replicated website, copy that website link. And so now we are going to be viewing my body and beauty store. Okay, now also, in case any of you did not know, there are two separate shopping carts, a separate shopping cart for the peptide products versus the non-peptide. That's why there's a Nueva and also a body and beauty shopping cart. So we click on shop now. And when we do, here we see this product. I think that anyone who would like to simply have a 1 week experience that 1 weekend would tell them without question that it was doing something for them, it would be this, the Body Kickstart. And I do this as a 1 week supply. It's a 7-day supply of nitro and a 7-day supply of Nueva Body. But now the purpose of this, the reason I logged onto this was to show you here. The company does an absolutely exceptional job in identifying what these products are. This is much, much, much better data sheet than what I am accustomed to seeing in a direct selling company's product. This company does operate at a higher level. That's not just a maybe, that's an absolute. The company operates at a higher level. Even the product fact sheet is quite compelling. But then when we go past the fact sheet, earlier, it was actually yesterday, I had a person here with me at my home who also had spent some time, several months, utilizing GLP-1, utilizing Ozempic. and was not happy with what the outcomes were a few weeks after he stopped using the product. And Stephen, I see your hand up, and I'll come to it in just 1 second. Okay. But then what was beneficial was his physician wanted to see the legitimacy of our company. And so here you can see a certificate of analysis. It is a highly unusual situation for you to be able to print out a fact sheet, the nature of which I showed you a moment ago, but even more unusual for you to be able to get a certificate of analysis literally for every batch of product this company makes. We are simply operating at a different and a higher level. Now, this is not about the utilization of AI. This is simply about the utilization of you knowing and understanding that our company does operate at a little higher level than anybody else does. But what I'm discovering is that it's a relatively small percentage of people who are availing themselves of that added information. And so, because my friend Stephen Edwards had his hand up, I'm going to pause for a second. Stephen, click on your microphone and tell me how I can help.
I just wanted to ask you if you would specify how you found that product sheet, because I was actually, when I was trying to navigate the products, I was feeling frustrated that it didn't give any
Yes.
specifics, and then
Yes.
I found all the details in the resources section, so then I was able to review all the products. But I I,
Okay.
I didn't like navigating the site because it didn't show like labels and
Exactly.
even like
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm going to show you exactly. Okay. And folks, hold on, cancel. It didn't go where I wanted. I'm going to try to share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen, and I will specifically answer the question that Stephen just asked. So here we go back into my tool suite. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going into this. So we're going to Nueva. Okay. And so I go to Nueva and I go to any one of the stores. It wouldn't matter. I'm going to go back over here like I was before. I'll go to my account. Going to my account, I then come over to the replicated website. And I click on, I could have clicked on either one, but I just clicked on the body beauty site. Now I come up here and I am in my store. And so when I click on shop now, here I see the item. And so Stephen, in direct response to your question, any item in either cart, any item in either cart, all you do is click on click on add to cart. And when you click on add to cart, then it populates the product sheet. And it also shows you the third-party testing where the certificate of analysis is. And that is the same for every product in the offering. So there is a data sheet in the shopping cart with the product. It does not matter which one it is. You go to any product. When you click add to cart, that will then give you the product sheet. The product sheet is a lot of fantastic information. Then only for those, principally, I would say for those who are in the medical world someplace or knowledgeable consumers. It will be people who are in the medical world someplace and knowledgeable consumers who are going to want to have not only the fact sheet, but they're also going to be interested to see the third party testing. And those come when you add any product to the shopping cart.
So
So I'm gonna
so
go ahead.
feedback, and that's where my difficulty was. Maybe they provide that um, data sheet on the shopping page rather than after you add it to the cart, because that's where I was
Sure.
yeah, I wouldn't add something to my cart until I decided that I wanted to purchase it, and I couldn't find out the
No,
information.
I understand that. That's a logical and legitimate statement, and
Yeah,
I will work on that a little bit. Okay.
that's what happened.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's exactly where those things are. Then I'm going to come back over here. We are still sharing my screen. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here again to my tool suite. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go my dot app.
Your screen's not showing, Randy.
Okay. Yeah, right. Thank you, Carol. Come in here and share my screen again. Sorry. Now I click on share the screen, start the broadcast. Okay, and we're going to go back over here to Levi. Now, there are several of you. I haven't looked at the attendee list here, but I'm sure there are 4 or 5 of you here that I have had conversations with over the last day or two and told that I would populate your AI. That is in process, that I would begin doing immediate posts for you. Those will, first ones will come tonight. As soon as the first handful of people, and there are 2 or 3 others of you like Carol that I've already got appointments with, but what I need to do is for a small group of people at the outset, 4 or 5, I will do a lot of the initial work. I'm going to do the posts myself. And this is because I want to create a track that is replicatable, that I'm personally involved with, so that 30 days from now, I can tell each of you more conclusively, specifically and exactly what works and does not work. So I've got a handful of people that I'm actually doing it with that for right now. None of them are more important than you, whoever you are. You're the most important person in my world. There's just a limitation to how many I can do that for at one time. And so just 2 or 3 weeks into it, maybe it'll take 4 weeks. I'll be able to uh, kind of turn those loose. Those little birds can fly, and I'll bring 4 or 5 more of you into it. And of course, along the way, I'll try very hard to eliminate that need by making things more and more and more obvious and more simple. And so now we're looking at the Lev AI tool suite. There are a few things that every one of us should be doing. First, if you have not yet created a Teams function. So here I'm looking at my friend Carol Morris. So Carol, have you yet created a team? Okay, perfect. And have you created a Nueva team? Perfect. And now when we come down here, have you begun adding team content? Okay. What I ask that each of you do, and I shouldn't say ask, what I suggest that each of you do is if you're not yet a member of my team, send me a request to become a member of my Nueva team. You will then have access to all of this material that you see in my Nueva library. I suggest that you click on every single one of those links. They're not there by accident, they're all there for a reason. And so now going back specifically to Stephen Edwards just a moment ago, expressed frustration because he couldn't find that information. So I've taken anything that wasn't immediately evident and I've put it here in the team. Now, that doesn't change the fact, Stephen, you're right. If your customer is going there, your customer doesn't have access to this stuff. And so you're right, that data needs to be moved. And I made myself a note, we'll move it. But I would suggest that each of you go to my team. The fact that I've put it here in my team, that means that I think there's a reason for it to likewise be in your team. Because what we're doing here is elevating you as the leader. We're not shining the spotlight on Randy. We're gradually going to turn the light down, 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 down on Randy. We turn the light more, 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 more up on you. And so what's way more important to me is that they see Carol Morris's team here than that they see Randy's team. So Carol, I propose that you review all of that content. And unless there's something that you just don't want there, I suggest that everything that is in my team should be in yours and whatever else you want to put there. Right? You can put things there that I cannot put there. You can put, I'm Carol Morris. I'm a registered nurse. I've been in the healthcare field for all these many years. Here's why I am doing this, right? I mean, you can say things that I can't say. So every one of you should have a better team function than me, because every one of you should have everything in your team function that is in mine. And you should also have those things that are uniquely you. So my friend Todd Scheibe, Todd, you should have everything that I have, but you're a CPA and I'm not. Therefore, you can say things that I can't say. Each one of you are something that I am not. So the point is that all of you have access to all of this content because you are on my team. My first suggestion to you, and I won't call it an assignment, but my first suggestion to you is that you make your team, and your team should be better than mine because you have access to everything that is in my team and you have the uniquenesses that are you. Right? Next, when we come here in the chat feature, I want this to change, and if it doesn't change, I will help. In Lev AI, one must be a director to have your own interactive twin. Ultimately, the biggest reason that I want right now, the biggest reason that I even want you to be a member of my team is because then you get my interactive twin, because you can't have one yet. You're not yet a director. So you need my interactive twin. I am working with the company to drop that requirement. I see no requirement for you to have to be a director to get that interactive twin. I mean, I don't see any reason for that. And so I promise you I will keep pushing the ball and I will get you your own interactive twin. At that point in time, the truth is that you really shouldn't need to be a part of you should be a part of my team, but you need not bring your group into my team because everything I make available to you, I want you to replicate. and then also add your uniquenesses to it. And so, any one of you who have not seen this, I have not yet trained my AI as extensively as I need to as it relates to these various peptides. But now we could do the same thing in the interactive chat. What are the advantages? What are the advantages of a peptide cocktail of 5 amino 1MQ SLUPP SLU-PP-332 GHKU GHKCU BPC157. What am I leaving out? Type 2 collagen peptides and KPV. What are the advantages? What are the, not three, what are the advantages for weight loss and metabolism versus a GLP-1? Okay, GLP versus GLP-1. Okay, so I absolutely love the chat feature. Now, again, I've not spent the time yet. I've been really busy, and I apologize. This may not produce what I want it to produce because I have not yet invested the time to properly train my AI in this result. But let's just see what it says. Okay,
I don't
I
have
don't have the
information about the
information, okay,
advantages of that
because I
peptide
didn't train
cocktail
it.
versus
Okay,
GLP-1 for weight loss and metabolism.
okay. So again, I'm not surprised at that. And my disclaimer was I didn't teach it when I needed to teach it for it to be able to say that. But now you know the things that I have taught it because now what you see, you're witnessing me as we speak making a pivot. My pivot for the last 35 years has been what? Recruit a member and teach them how to recruit a member and teach them how to recruit a member and build a leadership group full of people who know how to recruit a member. Now my message is what? Build a customer base of my own so that I know how to do it, and then teach you how to create customer bases of your own. Now we recruit a member who will create a customer base as opposed to recruiting a member who will recruit a member. And so it's fully loaded. I mean, Samantha has loaded up hundreds and hundreds of hours of my team building content here. In another week or so, there'll be a few hundred hours of peptide based content loaded here so that it likewise becomes efficient in that respect. But when I put here, what are Randy Schrader's 10 steps to getting started correctly? What are Randy Schrader 10 steps to getting started correctly? It only knows the answer to this because I trained it. And because I have not yet trained it about peptides, it didn't provide the information that I wanted there. The very next time we have a conversation, I assure you it will. And so now stop and ask yourself this question.
Randy Schroeder's 10 steps to get started correctly focus on building a strong foundation in network marketing. The first step is to clearly define your why, knowing your purpose and goals. Then, build a list of prospects, start daily outreach with a clear script, share your product or opportunity consistently, and follow up diligently. Next, invite prospects to events or presentations. Work with your team to duplicate success, focus on personal development, track your progress, and finally, stay persistent and patient. Would you like one step to focus on first?
Yeah, I would. Tell me more about step 5. Okay. So the point is that the interactive avatar can be conversational. And again, I'm working hard to make it so that you don't have to be a director to use the interactive avatar, specifically because for me,
Step 5 is about consistently sharing your product or opportunity. The key is to
yes, now
communicate
stop
your
it.
message.
So, but once again, I love the fact that it's conversational, right? It's not like I'm creating a video and you watch it and the material is there. No, it is about having the ability to interact, ask specific questions, and so on. So all of the content that I've loaded up into this thus far has been about showing a person how to build a network marketing leadership structure. That remains valid, but that becomes what? That becomes the second behavior. The first behavior is to create our customer pod. Single most important thing, folks. And you will become among my greatest heroes when you become one of the first ones who successfully pivot from simply enrolling members who enroll members who enroll members to instead enrolling members because they will find customers, enrolling customers, and then enrolling members because they find customers. Only after they show ability to gain a customer base do we then are that now we're armed with that proof. Now I can go to any entrepreneur and I can say, well, look, here's my group. My average team leader has 25 customers, and they do an average of $200 in volume each every month, and so that's $5,000 in volume. And my average member working this part time on just their customer pod is making $2,200 a month because that would be the outcome. Now, see, that's the message, Carol. I think I could sell that to anybody. I think I go say to anybody and say, look, here are the 10 people that I've enrolled. Those 10 people all have 20 customers. They're each making $1,400, $1,500, $2,200 a month. They met up for less than a year. That is a completely different message. We're delivering a product for the sake of the product. Once we learn how to do that, we teach other people how to do the same thing. Totally different message. Well, so the argument, and it doesn't, I guess you guys don't even know the argument, but I've told Lev AI, I'm not selling Lev AI as an opportunity today. I'm not. I'm using Lev AI as a tool to sell a product, which creates an opportunity. And since I'm using Lev AI as a tool to sell a product, there's no logic in saying that you must grow in the Lev AI compensation plan in order to use that feature. So what I can tell you is I'm working hard to get that changed. And in the extraordinarily unlikely event that I don't get it changed, then I will provide to you another solution where you can have an interactive avatar for nothing. I promise you, I will get you an interactive avatar. And it's coming sooner, not later. Okay. And so now the next thing that I would hope, having mirrored and what I want you to do, and I do want you to, I know what you want is what matters the most, but what I want you to do is I want you to go into your AI and I want you to mirror my team and then add to it. Mirror my team, take everything that's there, and then add to it, putting your uniquenesses on it. Okay. Then the next thing that I want you to do, have you not done so yet, is train your AI so that it can begin to communicate effectively on your part. The next thing that I suggest that you do is create at least, and let's start with three. Let's not go beyond that. I want to measure a little bit how much work is involved, how time consuming, and so on. But I advise each to have three business profiles. And the reason for this is because we'll get a very different kind of eye. And so there you see, I have Nueva Peptide Health. I've become so fascinated with AI because it can take even a seemingly boring idea and make it a really, really good idea. And so I made me a profile that was just vitamin C because the truth is vitamin C is really, really important, and yet most people don't know how important it is. What you'll find out is that if you learn how to properly leverage artificial intelligence, there is a fascinating message. Any nutritional supplement that has existed for the last 40, 50, 60, 80 years, there is a reason for it to exist. People know they have to have vitamin C. But what they don't know, how profoundly important it is, and what they don't know is how and why it should be inclusive in our overall daily regimen. And so when I asked it to build me a website, frankly, I was kind of stunned when it created me a website that made the utilization of vitamin C just about as compelling as anything you can possibly imagine. And so, I mean, really. So make yourself two or three profiles, and we see examples of my profiles. I have Nueva Peptide Health. Okay, that's an actual business that I build. Vitamin C, that's not a business that I build. 7K Metals, I'm an investor in gold and silver. So I'm a participant. I don't market the product, but I'm a participant. I use that company's service. Shopley, that's a business that is owned by Terry LaCour that we may at some time have some partnership with. And so I'm very, very eagerly involved in learning and knowing and understanding. Then we come down here, just being a dad. That is because I get a completely different eye on a Facebook page that is just being a dad than I get on a Facebook page that is Nueva Peptide Health. That makes sense, doesn't it? Completely different. And so what I'm wanting you to do is to create a candidate list that is broad. When I have leadership personified, this is about leadership. That's going to get a different eye than just being a dad, and that's going to get a different eye than Nueva Peptide Health. So create for yourself at least, let's just not go at least, let's just say create for yourself three profiles. And you can all do it right now. I mean, this is how all we do. We click right here on this. It says business profiles. We come over here, we click add new. And so what is my name? Well, I mean, Randy Schrader Peptides. Randy Schrader Leadership Development. I'm not going to actually build this because I have leadership personified. But what is my product? I strive to help others achieve at their highest possible levels. Okay. And so that's what I do. Now, you saw it took me a matter of seconds to create that profile. But yesterday I was intrigued and I was sad yesterday and the day before. I looked at multiple people's LevAI back offices and they hadn't created a profile and they hadn't learned how to use the email campaign. And so, therefore, they were just spending money on something that could not produce a positive result. I have no interest, I mean, none, in doing anything like that. And so now I'm hoping very much that if you have not done so yet, that before today ends, you have created a profile or two. Come in here, we simply name the website, and I'm just going to call it RSLD, Randy Schrader Leadership Development, RSLD, and the tone is going to be professional and excited. And I'm going to go professional and persuasive. We're going to do that. And activate my cooking settings. And right here, where I'm doing this, I put in my link. So now it's creating for me this website. Now, all it's going to do is create the front page. But if any of you choose to create your own websites, the first thing we'll do is create your own logo. With Stephen Edwards yesterday, went to work, got a free online logo. We popped the logo in there. And any of you can do this much by yourself. Any of you can create this in a second. Once you've done that, once you've created that in a second, then I suggest that you make an appointment with me or make an appointment with Samantha, mostly with Samantha, and let her help you finish this out. Attach your shopping cart to it, do all the various things so it's not just the front page. But now look what's here. I mean, this was literally, you saw it, 90 seconds work. Randy Schrader Leadership Development empowers individuals to reach their full potential through personalized coaching. Our mission is to enhance leadership skills with tailored insights, ensuring professional growth and success. Well, if someone goes to my leadership, my whatever I call this, Randy Schrader Leadership Development Facebook page, don't you suppose they're going to anticipate and expect that I will have a website? I'm in business here. And so I create a profile. When I create the profile, I then create a separate Facebook page. That costs nothing. Then I create a separate website because I can build a different candidate list when I'm talking about leadership development than I can build if I'm talking about peptides. But when I'm talking about leadership development, what am I then going to do? Introduce them to a business wherein they can exhibit their new leadership skills. And so it's all aiming to the same place. But instead of aiming directly to the consumer at the very outset, that's what Randy Schrader, or my Nueva Peptide Health is. Here, I'm addressing people from a different standpoint. I'm talking about them about the desire to develop leadership attributes. That gets a different eye. But all the same percentage of people who want leadership attributes, they need the peptides the same as someone who doesn't, is not thinking that. When I post in just being a dad, once again, the idea of multiple eyes being drawn for different reasons. And then what I do next is establish the daily routine. And any of you could establish the daily routine. And my gosh, I have got to figure out a way to be less long-winded. Just a few minutes, I'm going to close this conversation because I have an AA meeting that I need to be to in 19 minutes, and it's important to all of us that I show up at those. Okay, but now, if we were to come up here, what is my daily routine? My daily routine is, first of all, for me, there's exactly nothing personal about social media. Social media is a business communication tool for me. And so I do not do personal posts, but I do business posts. And so each morning for each of my profiles that I'm actively building. And so I am building a new candidate list. I'm growing my circle of influence by growing new, brand new, fresh circles of influence. Right now, people who know me, they think of me as a network marketing leader. They also know that my last 2.5 years have not been the best in terms of business. I need, just like many of you need, a brand new, fresh circle of influence. I need new proofs of success among new people. That will give me access to historic circles of influence that, frankly, I don't have much reach for right now. Everything I do is a business post. I then select one of my profiles. Could be any one of the above. In this case, whatever. I select Randy Schrader Leadership. And when I do an instant post, it is then going to, in a couple of seconds, it's going to write something. And it's drawing its information specifically from what I trained my AI in. I like to dig into new books that challenge my thinking about leadership and how people work together. There's always something new to learn, especially when it comes to building effective teams. It keeps me sharp and curious in this ever evolving field. And so, see, that's not something that would be congruent, is it, in Nueva Peptide Health? That wouldn't be congruent. That also would not be congruent in just being a dad. That will get a different reader, a different response. And so, what I'm trying to do and trying to help you do is create multiple new contact bases. But you see, all of these contacts, that person is interested in leadership, they're also interested in ways to illustrate that leadership for a financial outcome. And so it is a process, not an event. Then I come down here and I do a quick post once per day in each of my profiles. And so my quick post, so I come over here and there's Bosco riding a rubber chicken. Well, that wouldn't be really congruent in Nueva Peptide Health, and it wouldn't be really congruent in Randy Schrader Leadership Development. But where is it altogether congruent? In Just Being a Dad. And so now I ask it to write a post for me on Just Being a Dad, and I've got a Facebook page that's Just Being a Dad. And so now it creates this. When you see a child riding through the neighborhood on a giant inflatable chicken, you realize just how creative and fearless kids can be. Sometimes, as fathers, the best role we play is simply showing up to witness these unforgettable moments. Now, when I post a picture of Bosco riding his inflatable chicken, or I post a picture of him playing his drum set that he got on Christmas, then that is going to elicit a response. What is the response? It's dad sending me pictures of their little boy or girl in their Cinderella costume or whatever it was. Has nothing to do with anything I'm going to sell. It has to do with creating engagement with new people. And so it is a process, but isn't it obvious that that's going to elicit a very different response than posting in the Nueva Peptide Health and talking about business? And then I do one long post per day. So I do an instant post, a quick post. The quick post is where I just put a picture there. And then I do a long post. And you all know now. See, now you know my secret. My primary purpose in the long post is for me to keep learning. What I try very hard to do is to have multiple outcomes, multiple positive outcomes for every positive behavior. And so then I come down here and now I write the long post. And now in the long post, what is it that I want to learn about peptides? My desire right now is to build a customer base in Nueva Peptide. That is my number one issue right now, because that's what I need to show you I have done and show you how I did it, help you do the same, so that we now craft a message that is not based upon a recruiter recruiting a recruiter, but now it is based upon building customer bases to deliver a product that broadens our reach by so far. And so now, what do I need to learn about that? And so then, while I may or may not post what it says here, I'm going to write a question that I need to know the answer to. And that will then find its way into my dialogue over the course of the next handful of days. Okay. So, what are the things that are tangible and actionable from this commentary today? Number one, begin learning yourself about all of our various product offerings. Learn what the benefits are of this cocktail of peptides as it relates to every health condition you can think of. Just start writing the questions. And when you start writing the questions, you'll start getting the answers. And in your next interaction, almost irrespective of the health issue someone raises, you're going to know how this cocktail can impact them. And if you know how the cocktail can impact them, then you're also going to have an increased ability to gain a new consumer for that cocktail. I'm telling you, that's been the most constructive thing that I have done in recent memory. I can today speak knowledgeably about a group of nutrients that meant absolutely nothing to me not very long ago. And I can today identify what are the strengths of what we do versus what else is out there in the marketplace. And I could write a question about, cost analysis of what do these things cost out there? And then I could compare what it comes back at to what we're charging for it. And what does that do? It builds my belief because we're actually offering these products that people want and need. We're offering them at tremendous prices. Now, today, again, my time is completely spent here, and it's about a 35 or 40-minute conversation to walk you through completely how to properly begin utilizing your CRM. so that you are not just growing, but you're maintaining a candidate list and have a constant drip cycle going on. And so sometime in the next 3 or 4 days, watch for the information. I will do a CRM specific training here to show you how to set up the email campaigns to have the constant never ending drip, the autoresponders and so on. Most of you don't know how to use that, but you're already paying for it right now in Lev AI, right? And so what I want you to do is start getting what you're paying for. And I also will just lob this ball across the net to each of you. If you want to know what is the single most important thing that you can do in your business right now, the single most important thing that you can do is arrive at the point of gold on the promoter side in the shortest possible period of time. Gold simply means you and 3 customers. That's what it means. You're active and you have 3 customers. It does require $300 in business, but you can't have 3 customers and have less than $300 in business. I mean, the average purchase is about 275. The single most important thing you can do for yourself and for our organization right now is to end this commission month at gold. That is more important than whatever your check is. That's more important than who might you enroll who wants to build a business. The single most important thing that we can do. Here we are in this little session. There's 18 of us here. If we exit this month with 18 people who are gold or higher on the promoter side of the business, we will launch February in a totally different environment because we will have proven things that right now we're talking about as concepts. Kevin Gardner's got his hands raised. I'm going to call on you, Kevin, and then I'm going to zoom off my meeting. Fire away, Kevin.
Randy, I just want to say thank you for doing this. I'm going to be honest with you. Before this, I was ready to just drop everything. And because of what you said about AI, I'm really familiar with AI. I haven't said a lot about it. I'm very fluent in it. And what I did is I used AI, like you said. I took the nutritional sheets from Nueva, thinking that it was going to be anything. I asked AI, Anthropic, not even Lev AI, to analyze it. And once it analyzed it, my mind opened up and it said, well, you got this fabulous product. It made me want to take the product. And since that, it opened me up again to this experience. And now I'm excited again.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited too. It has been a long and winding road. I feel so good about the idea of building customer pods based on product validity. And then that is what creates the business, as opposed to a forever fight of who in the hell is going to sell the product, right? That's what we've heard for 30 years. Who? Me in my customer pod. Who? You in your customer pod. Who? Everyone as they teach them. Folks, I'm going to rush off to an AA meeting. It'll make me a better person. You guys all need that. I need to be at my best, just like you guys do. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. God bless. Bye bye.